Welcome to the Painting Coach, and today I'm going to show you how to paint Nekrosor Ammentar of the Necrons, this fantastic new model. A huge thanks to Games Workshop for sending me this out early so I can make this content. Let's get painting. The first thing I've done is prime the model. Now I primed it with some black and then I used some Leadbelcher spray. I then also put a little bit of matte varnish over the top so I could make sure to get some good grippiness for the next stages. Firstly, I wanted to shade everything, and the colour I used for that was Nuln Oil. Now, I painted this all over the model, taking my time to make sure it didn't pull too heavily in any of the recesses. I'm using a fairly large brush for this, and I'm moving quite quickly, and what you should see is that it starts to really settle, and you'll pick out some of that detail, and it's a nice, easy step to get that shading started. Next up, I wanted to reflect the old and dirty nature of the model that you can see on the box art. So to do this, I then took some Agrax Earthsahde and I painted this directly over exactly the same areas that I've already washed. Now, it is important that this is completely dry before you do this step. And again, I'm using the same size brush, just taking my time, brushing in a downward motion, making sure that it doesn't settle too heavily in the recesses. And as this starts to dry, you should have a nice dark, dirty brown looking armour. When that was completely dry, I wanted to brighten it up a little bit, and to do that I took a very small dry brush and some Leadbelcher and just painted this across everything that I'd already shaded, focusing on those edges and areas that are facing upwards. Now this should give you a nice crisp highlight across some of the edges. We're not looking to put massive amounts of this on, we just want to differentiate the colour a little bit. And lastly, on that silver, I took some chrome from Vallejo Model Air. Now, if you haven't got this, something like Roomfang steel is absolutely fine. And what I did with this is exactly the same thing as the previous step, but I just used that square brush to drag it across the sharp edges on things like the claws to get really nice crisp highlights. And this should give you a nice bright area. Should go without saying, only focus on those areas that are facing upwards or those really sharp edges. Next up, I wanted to paint what looks like rust on the box art. Now, it didn't make sense to me that this is only in one section, so I painted the majority of the tail with this up towards the back plates. The colour I'm using for this is Rhinox Hide, and this is very thin. This is 3 parts water to 1 part Rhinox Hide. Again, I'm using a very big brush. And what I'm doing is I'm stippling it across all the areas where I want to paint this rust. What you'll start to see as it dries is it really does matte down, but also that silver underneath still shines through, so it does give you a really nice effect. I'm then going to do exactly the same thing using some Doombull Brown, again focusing on stippling this across the tail and any other areas where I want that rust to appear. Now again, this is 3 parts water to 1 part paint, but because I've got such a big brush there, it is nice and easy and simple to get this across the model. And whilst I'm doing this, I'm also going to pick out all the rust elements on the scenic base as well. To finish up all the rust, I'm going to take some Skrag Brown, and what I'm looking to do here is paint this into things like recesses and around raised areas where perhaps some fresh rust is going to settle. So I'm not going to cover the whole of the area with this, I'm just looking to run it into these recesses. Now again, this is quite thin down, probably 2 parts water to 1 part paint. And it's always better to add a little and add more. So don't go too overboard with this, just add some more later on if you feel you need some more rust effect. With the rust done, it was time to move on to those armor panels that are slightly coloured. And if you've seen the channel recently, we're very much into experimenting. I wasn't entirely sure how I was going to do this. They kind of look ceramic on the box art. So what I've done is taken some Dawnstone and I've based all of them. So we've got things like the panels covering the back. We've got the face mask. We've got some parts on the arms, the connection to the guns, and also that big claw as well. Now, it did take 2 coats to get a nice even coverage here. When that was dry, I watered down some Agrax stone. Now, this is perhaps 2 parts water to 1 part paint. And what I look to do is move across all these areas, stippling across them so that I'm building out a really mottled and blotchy pattern with the Agrax stone. Now, this is going to dry and blend into the colour underneath it, so it's not going to be particularly prominent. And once that first coat was dry, I then stippled a second coat across everything. Now, I have lost a little bit of footage here, but essentially what I did was then shade everything using 1 part Space Wolves Grey contrast paint and 1 part contrast medium, and basically painted this over all of the Agrax stone. When that was completely dry, I went back in with a dry brush and stippled across all of the Agrax stone areas. Now, this is Agrax stone on the brush again, and I'm not doing dry brushing per se, I'm just stippling it, but this is just starting to build up that Agrax stone layer again, leaving the darker colours in the recesses. I then moved on to some grey seer and did exactly the same thing. Now I'm using the same brush, I haven't washed it in between steps. Again, I'm looking to stipple it across the model. Now I am doing this with a dry brush, so I'm not taking wet paint. I'm popping my brush in the paint, wiping it off on some tissue, and then stippling it across the model, just building up the texture and the colours on this really worn armour. The last thing I did was take a little bit of white. Now, I used AK white. You can use whatever white you want. If you've got white scar, that's fine. And just really focus on dragging my brush across the edges of this armour, just to get that nice crisp highlight where the light is going to catch, and to also segment some of the plates. I did think that the armour looked a little too clean and a little too bright. So what I did was take some Rhinox Hide. Now, this is very thin down into a glaze consistency. I've got hardly any on my brush. So it's maybe 4 parts water to 1 part paint. And what I did then is I also tapped my brush on a paper towel, and this took all the moisture out of it. Then what I did was I painted across the model into some of the recesses, and then before it dried, I just cleared my brush off and feathered the edge out. So it left me with a little bit of a reddy brown colour that just, again, adds a bit more nuance to those armour panels. Next up, it was time to paint all of the tubes. So the first thing I did was base them all using Caliban green. Now, this is a fairly easy and straightforward step. Just make sure you've got a decent coverage of Caliban green across them, and obviously be careful across those areas that you've already finished. There are quite a lot of tubes across this model, so make sure you get them all. Next up, I then took some Warpstone Glow and painted this over the Caliban green. Now again, a nice, easy, fairly straightforward step. It's just a case of being careful around bits you've already finished and making sure that you paint absolutely everything. Whilst I had the Warpstone Glow out, I also made sure to paint the blades on those guns, as we can start to blend them a little bit now as well. I took a 50-50 mix of Warpstone Glow and Moot Green, and I started to blend this onto the blades. Now, this isn't going to be a wet blend or a glaze blend per se, we're just going to do it using layers. So what I did was just paint this either on the inside or the outside of the blade, starting about halfway up and working my way to where I wanted the brightest glow. By doing this, you start to build up the colour where you want it to be brightest, and because this is a 50-50 mix, it's not a huge jump, so as it dries, it'll blend in nicely. Next up, I took some Moot Green and used this to highlight all of the tubes. So again, taking my time here, dragging my brush across the shape of the model to get that nice crisp highlight. I also used this to continue highlighting the blades, focusing now on the bottom quarter, so starting there and painting towards the end. So again, wherever you move your brush to, wherever your brush finishes, this is where the paint is going to be brightest. I also dragged my brush across the edges to help that blend effect. Next, I took a 50-50 mix of Ghost Blaster Green and that Moot Green, and what I did with this was just paint the very, very brightest part of these blades to give a nice effect and finish off where it's going to be lightest. Now, don't forget to do both sides of the blade as you do this. The blade wasn't quite dark enough in the darkest area, so I took a little bit of Caliban Green, hardly any on my brush at all here, and I just pushed this into those darkest areas. So if you want to use a little bit of a glaze consistency here, you can. All I did was thin it out on my wet palette and made sure I had very, very little paint on the brush. This just gives you a little bit better contrast across the blades. To finish them up, I took some Ghost Blaster Green and just dragged my brush across the sharpest edges of the blades, and this gave me a nice bright highlight. This just gives the impression that the edge of the blades are the hottest or the sharpest parts, and they're ready to slice right through whatever they come up against. Next, it was time to paint all of the orbs and also all of the flowing energy that runs through that tail that you can see on the box art. So I took a little bit of Corax White and I painted all of the orbs using this. I also made sure to run it into the recesses around them, so you could get a really, really nice glow effect, which I'll show you how to do shortly. When that Corax White was dry, I then took a very bright white. Now, I used White Scar for this. If you haven't got that, use whatever white that you've got. I used this to just paint a highlight where I thought those orbs were going to be the brightest. And also on that little bit of energy going through the tail, that conduit, I also painted that as well. So for the tail, I didn't want this to be as yellow and as glowing as I did the orb. So I took some Striking Scorpion contrast paint and just painted this into all of those recesses across the white. Not worrying so much if it spilled onto the rust, because that just gives you a little bit of a glow effect, but making sure that it didn't settle too heavily and cover too heavily, so you had a nice little bit of glow coming through there. For all of the orbs, I took some Tesseract Glow. Now, make sure you give this a really, really good shake. And it's also really key that when you put it over that white, you don't let it settle on top of the orb. You need to wick it away and into those recesses. Otherwise, you might have some green across the top where you want it to be as bright as possible. Just be careful not to spill this across that much brighter armor segment. When that was dry, I took some striking scorpion green and painted this into the recesses. What this did was have the effect of really, really boosting the contrast. To add some of that glow effect across the carapace and across the armor, I took some Tesseract Glow on my brush. Now I wiped most of it off my brush, so there's barely anything on there, and then I just painted it back towards the brightest area. So as you work your way across this, what you'll start to see is you'll really build up the effect. Now the first time you do it, it's going to be subtle, but if you had a second and maybe a third layer, if you need it, you should build up that nice glow effect. And don't forget, the source of the light needs to be the brightest part. The glow is not brighter than the source. For the blackstone on the back, the first thing I did was base this using Stegadon Scale Green. Now, my Stegadon Scale Green is quite thin. I've pre-thinned it for an airbrush, so I needed to do 2 coats. You might be able to get away with 1. I then took some Nuln Oil and made sure I worked this into all the recesses, and that gave me a nice shade on the area. When that was completely dry, I went back to Stegadon Scale Green and just started to highlight up, leaving the darker colour in the recesses and also getting a nice crisp edge highlight. Next up, I used Sotek Green and did exactly the same thing, keeping this inside the previous colour. Now, this needs a little bit of control. You see, I've got a really good point on my brush for this. So just make sure you work your way across, drag it across those sharp edges where you can. It's always better to add a little and add more later on. Finally, I finished this up using some Temple Guard Blue, and generally all I did here was just drag my brush across those sharp edges, and that gave me that really nice crisp highlight. The last thing before painting the base was just to add some of that dried blood across all of the claws and the pincers. There's quite a lot across this model. So firstly, I took a 50-50 mix of corn red and Rhinox Hide, and this just give it a little bit of a brown look, so that as it dried, it wouldn't be a bright, vibrant red. I've thinned this with a little water, and I've wiped my brush off as well before I go to the model, so as I'm painting, there's not a lot of paint coming off, so as it dries, it's not going to be very opaque, and this just helps that effect of it being a little bit thinner towards the top of the claws and a little denser towards the bottom where they've actually been piercing. And lastly, I just took some pure corn red, and again, I just stippled this along the bottom areas where I wanted the most effect, and that just gives that really nice dry blood effect that you can see on the box art. And there we have it. Nekrosor Ammentar is done and ready for the tabletop. I'm really happy with how this model turned out. There's some effects I tried for the first time, and I'm really, really happy with how they've come out. I'm really, really happy with how that glow has come out as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like and a comment down below. It means the world to me. And make sure you check out my other content here. I've got a video on how to paint the Nightbringer, where I do some accidental non-metallic metal, and I get a really, really nice finish on it as well. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.